Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and today is the first day of Modern Masters 2017 previews, and we have got some big news to talk about today coming out of Wizards of the Coast. You see it right there on the title card. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to come out and say it. Damnation is in the set. It has been reprinted at the rare spot. Also, Enemy Color Fetchlands in the set, each at the rare spot. No mythics at the rare spot. So that is awesome news for folks that have been trying to get their hands on these cards. Now, we're going to talk more of that in detail in just a moment, as well as some of the other cards they revealed. There's some other interesting things to discuss aside from these cards too. Now, I will say I wanted to put this video out as quickly as possible today and give this information to all of you as fast as I could because a couple of reasons. First off, there may be some other spoilers coming that I want to give good attention to. So if there's a lot of interesting things that come out later in the day, I might do a second video. But if not, if there's only a few things, I'll just wrap those into tomorrow's video and we'll do a recap tomorrow of everything from the next 24 hours. But the other big reason I want to do this early today was because if you were on the fence about picking up a box, like maybe you were thinking, oh, maybe I want a box to draft with some friends or something like that. If you were on the fence, the time to buy a box is probably right now because the prices are already starting to go up with this announcement. So that was the main reason I wanted to get this video out at least as fast as I possibly could today. Now, having said that, I'm going to put my regular plug in here for the channel like I usually do. But if you check out the description below, you'll find links to Amazon sellers through our Amazon affiliate store. If you make any purchases through those links to any of the sellers, a small percentage comes back to help the channel. And I did just check and they still have Modern Masters boxes on there for about $185, including shipping. So it's still a real good deal. I don't expect that to last with these announcements just coming out just hours ago at this point. So even if you don't buy them through those links to help us and you're thinking of buying them, definitely today's probably the day to do so. And I wanted to get that word out there for sure. Secondly, there's another way to support us and it's Patreon. Check out the links to our Patreon page and you can find some details there as to how to help us out and how to get a exclusive Heroes and Legends full art classic art angel token like you see on the screen there. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get on to the cards for today that have been previewed. And the first one is one of the cards from the packaging we saw last Monday, so it's not a big surprise, but it's Stoic Angel. What we are seeing, though, for the first time here is the actual card, and we now have the confirmation that it's a rare, which is what we speculated. Also, I mentioned on Monday the fact that we saw Griselbrand, Domri, and Stoic Angel on the packs. It led me to believe that there'd be a heavy multicolor theme within the set for limited purposes, and they did confirm today that that is what is happening. So there's a lot of color fixing like I was thinking we would see, and we'll look at that in just a few moments. They also said that the strategies are going to be allied color based. However, they did plan the limited game around adding a third color. So it looks like it's going to be probably to your benefit in a lot of cases in draft to dip into a third color. Next, we have Restoration Angel, and this is actually another pretty big deal, quite honestly. If it wasn't for the huge headlines today of Damnation and Enemy Color Fetchlands, like this is actually kind of awesome as well. Now, financially, it's not as big as those cards by any means, right? I mean, I think you can pick these up for about $6, $7 or so right now. They're not super expensive, but they are key parts of those modern control decks, those Azorius control decks, those Jacques control decks. They're a little lower right now on the meta currently, but they could bounce back at any time, and it's just really nice to see a card like this printed again. And like I said, they are looking at some fun limited strategies. This is awesome with a blank strategy, which will be your Azorius strategy. All right, here it is. Damnation. The meme is finally dead. It's being printed at rare. Huge, huge news. Currently, the value for this card is around $55. I expect it to start to drop a little bit now that this announcement has come out. The big wild card here, the big question is, what is the print run of this product going to look like? Here's the deal. It's not a print-on-demand product like most of your standard sets, like E3 Vault, Kaladesh, so on and so forth, right? So there is a certain limit to the print run here. This isn't going to be available at your Targets or your Walmarts. It's only going to be available through your LGSs, distributors, stuff like that. So what does that mean for the card? Their print run seems like it's going to be higher than Modern Masters 2015 was, and maybe even higher than Eternal Masters. The reason I say that is we're seeing a lot of high value cards at the rare. If they restrict that print run too much, that's going to be disastrous. I mean, packs will sell out. Folks will start hoarding them, prices will really spike hard, and players won't be able to get their hands on the cards to play with, to draft with. And the draft portion is, even though it's not what everyone's into, is really a big part of this particular product. Having said that, I do think we're going to see an increased print run for Modern Masters 2015. However, these are some pretty tangible financial cards. So I think what will happen is you will see the value of these cards, like Damnation, will probably go down quite a bit. It could lose maybe close to half its value, quite honestly, over the next few weeks and months. But over time, once the product starts to dry up, these cards will start to rebound. The other wild card, though, with this card is when you read that Wizards article, it really feels like they're open to putting Damnation into a standard set sometime in the future. I mean, they had plans to do it numerous times, and it just kind of got cut at the last minute, or it's sometime during the development process. So it could show up eventually in a standard set, and that would really bring the value of this card down quite a bit. Now, Fetchlands are a little different. We'll talk about those in a few moments, but this is actually really exciting stuff, though, for players that want to get their hands on this card. And this card has been seeing more and more play in actual modern decks recently, so I think this is an awesome, awesome inclusion. Thank you, Wizards, for making it happen and for listening to everybody for all this time. All right, here we are. We're going from one big card to another really big card. Goblin Guide, confirmed at Rare with new art. This art was actually circulating a little bit on message boards and stuff for a few days. A lot of folks speculating it was Goblin Guide. Well, here it is. This card was officially previewed by the professor at Tulare Community College. If you haven't watched the video yet, check it out. His videos where he previews the cards are always amazing, and they're always very funny. So check this one out when you have time. It's an incredible video. But yeah, here it is, Goblin Guide. I mean, $35 card. We're looking at how many rares now today? Like 7 rares that are at least $30 or higher. That's incredible. Huge, huge value we're seeing coming out of this set. And Goblin Guide, great inclusion. Fantastic, of course, in burn decks and modern. In burn decks, there's a lot of budget cards in burn decks, but there's a couple cards that are still really expensive, and this is one of them. So this does open the door for players to maybe be able to pick up some Goblin Guides and improve those budget decks and turn them into more competitive decks out there at their LGS or in the field. That's pretty cool. So I'm very happy to see this card. Now, granted, price-wise, this will take a hit. It's going to be reprinted. We know more copies are going to go out there. But again, you're going to find that weird demand-supply curve issue that we've seen with some other cards. Yes, there's going to be more supply out there, but that's also in turn going to increase the demand. Again, I go to my local game store, I happen to maybe get a copy of Goblin Guide in a booster pack, and I think to myself, well, it's not too expensive right now to buy 3 more of them, and then I got the play set, and I'm a lot more likely to do that than if I had to buy 4 of them cold when the price was still at $35, right? So you're definitely going to see some of that going on over the next few weeks for sure. We'll want to keep real close tabs on the market, but like I said, another huge reprint. Wizards is really listening. All right, let's talk about some lands. And first off, we're going to talk about the lands at the common spot. And these are the guild gates. So we're getting the guild gates back at common. It's going to help with color fixing for the limited game. And I'm glad they went with guild gates as opposed to other versions of come into play tap lands, because I feel like at least with guild gates, there's some fun limited interactions with other cards, because there are guild gate matters cards out there, and I'm sure they're going to print some of them in the set that we saw from the Return to Ravnica block. So, okay, I think it's a pretty cool inclusion. Let's look at uncommon. And you'll find here at uncommon, we're going to get the tri-lands from the shards block. So, of course, the tri-lands from the cons block would be too new to put in this set. They aren't eligible for Modern Masters 2017, but these are eligible, so we will get a chance to play with these, and I think they'll help smooth out your limited game for sure. And then, of course, finally, I've already mentioned it, but at Rare, we have our Fetchlands. And here's Marsh Flats. They didn't change the art on them or anything like that, which is fine with me because I actually really like the art on these. I think they're beautiful. And here, of course, are the other 4 real quick. And there they are at Rare, confirmed. Financially, again, I see them losing some value. I don't think they'll take as big of a hit, though, as, say, a card like Damnation, just because Damnation is a little bit of a pigeonhole card. You have to be playing a certain type of deck to want to run it, where these are going to be open to a lot more decks, obviously, because they're mana-based cards. So because of that, there's a huge gap right now in supply and demand for these. You're going to put more supply out there, but inadvertently, I think you're going to also create more demand at the same time, because we saw this with other Master sets in the past, especially that first Modern Masters. Players went out, they bought some packs, maybe they drafted and got a couple cards they liked, and they kind of said, you know what? I have a couple Misty Rainforests now just from playing a draft, and I happen to open one in one of my prize packs, and it wouldn't be that expensive for me to buy 2 more and I'd have a play set. So all of a sudden, yes, there's additional supply, but it can create additional demand as well. And because the demand is so strong currently for these cards, I do expect them to take a small hit. I do think they will go down in price, at least in the short term. However, I think in the long term, they're going to start getting their value back over time. Now, a couple things. Like I said, we don't know the print run exactly of this set. I do think it's going to be higher than Modern Masters 2015. So depending on how high the print run is going to really convey how much of a hit these cards are going to take and how slow they are going to be to rebound. The other thing that I find interesting now is we've reprinted the Allied Fetchlands. Now we're reprinting these, even though this is not a standard full print set, which feels maybe a little awkward because so many players want these. But it does open the door now to say, you know what, someday in the future, we could go to a plane where they're just going to go ahead and reprint all 10 of them. Maybe next time we go to Zendikar or somewhere else where lands matter or something like that in the future, I could just see them just saying, all right, we're going to put all 10, much like they did with the Shock lands and Return to Ravnica. I would not be surprised at all if we see that someday. I don't think it's going to be real soon, but at least someday in the future. Having said that, at least in the short term, they'll take a small hit. Long term, they're going to start to slowly rebound, no doubt. And having said that, those are the preview cards for today. Huge, huge day. And again, I can't press this enough. If you are on the fence about buying a box, even if you don't buy them through our links, go out there and find a good deal, because the deals are going to start drying up. They're already starting to creep up on eBay, I've noticed. It's only a matter of time before I think these creep into the $190 to $200 mark. It's already starting to happen. So if you're thinking about it, today's the day to pull the trigger, I think, on this. This is just a huge announcement that came out regarding this set. And we'll be back tomorrow, maybe later today if we get other big news, but if not, definitely tomorrow we'll be back. We'll talk about all the preview cards for the next 24 hours. So until then, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.